Hello, neighbor. Alicia Dolan here at Creating in My Corner. We are going to be making some beautiful cards together today. I'm so glad you could join me. I'm just going to wait 1 second to see if anyone, well, probably more than a second, just to see if anyone else joins us, only because I'm early today. Yesterday was my anniversary, my husband's anniversary. And so we're going out to dinner tonight, and I thought I would come live early instead of possibly missing you later. We're going to be using 2 stamp sets today, and I keep going back to this Ringed with Nature stamp set only because it's the only current stamp set I have with a Christmas greeting in it. I do have another one ordered, and it's on its way. And as soon as I get it, we'll be making cards with that new stamp set. So let's see. Oh, it looks like, okay, it looks like one person is watching. Hello. I'm so glad you could join me today. We're going to be making 2 more Christmas cards today. This is part 3 of our Christmas in July series. So I think we have 2 parts left. I'm doing my best to watch out for comments as we go along. And hopefully you can all see me and hear me okay. I don't see any comments yet, but I want to go ahead and get started so we can make our cards. And I'm just gonna turn the camera off while I switch views. So hold on 1 second. Okay, I know that sometimes you have to get a little view of my ceiling there while I switch angles, but I hope that's not too big of a problem. So tonight we are combining 2 different stamp sets. We're going to use the Crafting with You stamp set. This is a new stamp set that came out in the annual catalog that came out in May. And we're going to be using our trusty Ringed with Nature stamp set for this Merry Christmas right here, and possibly even more than that as we go along. So if you are stamping with me, go ahead and get out some cardstock. I have basic gray, some vellum, basic white, and this piece of paper here is designer series paper. And this is what the other side looks like. It is called Earthen Elegance designer series paper. So we did actually use this paper last week as well. Not this piece of paper, but a different piece from this pack when we made this card here. And so if you missed it, last week we made these 2 cards, and we'll have 2 cards when we get done tonight. All right, so first, oh, I think I bumped that, sorry. Okay. Oh, my camera is sideways. Hold on 1 second, and I can change that. Okay, I had to cover that up so you didn't see the big mess that's on the other side of my basement over there. It's dwindling a little, but very slowly. All right. Okay, now that we're facing the right direction, we're not all crooked, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm just going to set my extra pieces off to the side. I've got my designer series paper. I've got a piece of vellum cardstock. This is crumb cake cardstock. And I thought that tonight for our embellishment, we would use these iridescent pearl basic jewels. I think they're really pretty, and hopefully you will too. So we're going to start with a piece of basic gray, and we're going to cut this at 4 1/4 on the long side. So our first card tonight is going to be 4 1/4 by 11. Okay, and then we're going to turn this sideways and score it at 5 1/2. And if you are watching later at our regular time at 6 o'clock, that's fine too. If you would just comment and like the video so that I know that you watch it, that would be wonderful. And anytime you feel inclined to share, I really appreciate that as well. So that helps get some crafty ideas into the minds of more people. And I think that's important. All right, so here is our card base for tonight. And next, we're going to take a piece of our designer series paper, and we are going to cut this. I need my ruler. Hold on. At 2 inches. All right, so we're going to go to, and we're going to do some more embossing tonight. I know I've been doing a lot of that. I feel like Christmas calls for a little extra sparkle and magic, and I feel like that's kind of what embossing brings in. It's a little extra magic. Okay, and then we're going to turn this sideways, and we are going to cut it at 5 1/2. So it's going to be 2 by 5 1/2, our designer series paper. Okay, and now we're going to take that and we're going to glue that right to the front. So we're going to take our liquid glue and go around the edge. See how I kind of smeared it a little bit there? We don't want our lines of liquid glue to be too lumpy. So you always, if you get a little too much in one spot, you can just take the end and smoosh it around. Okay, and then we are going to glue this piece right here in the center. And I am not measuring, I'm just eyeballing it. So hopefully it turns out fairly straight. Okay, and then what we want to do is cut out this little die here from the Crafting with You set. So this looks like this. This is, okay, here's just a little helpful hint. This is a little frame from the dollar store, and you can cut a piece of magnetic sheet, and then when you're die cutting, you can stick your dies on here when you're before you put them away, just to keep track of them. Because I know sometimes I set them down on my table, and then if I turn too fast, I brush them off and everything goes flying on the floor. But as you can see, it sticks really well to that little magnet. So if you have, even if you have an old frame laying around, you can put one of those magnetic sheets on there, and you can get them at Menards, or they have some on Amazon that actually have sticky backs on them. Okay, so now we're going to die cut. We're going to die cut this twice. So we're going to cut it once on the crumb cake, and then I'm going to cut it again on a piece of basic white. That way we have the outside of the frame and the inside. And I am using my big die cutting machine today, so I'm not gonna put it up on the table. I have done it before, but it's a lot easier to cut it off to the side. If you ever need to see a specific video where I have um, shown how the die cutting machine works, all you have to do is ask and I can send you a link right to one. Or if you ever have a chance to come to one of my in-person classes, I am happy to show you in person. I personally think that's the best way to learn. However, I know it can be hard to get around to all the places you want to get to. All right, so now we have our frame, and I wanted a brown frame because I want it to look like an embossing frame. And then I need to see. Okay, we're going to use this 2-inch circle punch. We are going to punch a white circle. Okay, and this really is to make our job here a little bit easier. So what I'm going to do is set this down. I'm going to add a little bit of glue around my frame, and I'm going to stick it on. But first, I wanted to show you, I have this silicone sheet now, Stampin' Up. I believe these are still in the catalog. These little sheets are fantastic because when you glue on them, the glue won't stick to them. You can use hot glue over them. You can use, I don't know about Gorilla Glue, but most kinds of glue, you can put them right over the top and they will peel right off. But I always like to get this out when I'm doing really tiny gluing, because then I don't have to worry if I go over the edge that it's going to be on my table later. It'll stay right on that silicone mat, and all I have to do is clean that off when I'm done. All right, so there is that. We're going to put our 2-inch circle on there. And this is just kind of to hold everything in place. Okay. So there's that, and we're going to let that dry for a minute. And on this right here, we're going to stamp our Merry Christmas. So, and we're going to emboss it, which is going to be a little tricky. So here we go. All right, and we are using the Merry Christmas that is in the Ring with Nature stamp set. So this is all one stamp. The words are together. So what we're going to do is we're going to stamp the Merry first and then the Christmas, because as you can see, it could not fit on there the way that it is. Here's my Versamark pad. And what I'm going to do is first, I'm going to get this Merry all inked up. So I'm only putting that Merry on the Versamark ink right now. Oh, there's a little hair got stuck in my Versamark ink. Or maybe it's in my stamp. No, there. Okay, so we're just going to tap lots of times and get that Merry covered, but we're going to keep the Christmas on the far side there. Okay. Oh, and I forgot something already. So if you're embossing and you have the embossing additions kit, you can use this embossing buddy and just go over the piece that you're going to stamp. And that will help the powder not stick where it doesn't belong. Okay, I'm just going to tap that in there a little bit more. in case it dried out. Okay, so we're gonna stamp Mary. Okay, so we gotta clean it off real quick. All right, and now we're gonna take the other side and we're gonna tap that in with Christmas. And we're gonna put that right below. And it is hard to see that unless you get it in just the right light. What I should have done is probably use my Stamparatus, but I didn't think of that earlier. All right, so let's clean that off real quick. Since it is my only Christmas stamp, we're gonna be using it again. All right, and now we're gonna bring over our embossing tray and our piece of scrap paper, and we can sprinkle our embossing powder over the top. We're gonna use silver this time. Um, the metallics embossing colors are silver, gold, and I believe it's copper. It's either copper or bronze. Okay. Whoops. I shouldn't have closed that already, should I? Okay. And now we're going to tap off the extra. Oh, it looks like we need a little more here at the end. Yeah. Okay. And then I'm going to move over off the side to flick it a couple times. And that just gets the extra bits off. Okay. I am going to mute the sound while I use the heat tool to set this. Okay, now the heat tool gets pretty hot. So I'm sure you saw that I have to move it around a little bit and in order to get it just where I want it to be. But now you can see there is my Merry Christmas and it's all sparkly. Okay, and we can dump our embossing powder back in its little tub. And set that off to the side. So here is our Merry Christmas. And we are going to put this on some Stampin' Dimensionals. So these are the mini Stampin' Dimensionals. You can use either size, it doesn't matter. Okay. Having a little trouble peeling off my backs today, I guess. All right, hold on. There's always something that has to cause a problem when you're on camera, right? I guess if this is my biggest problem today, it's not that bad. Things are not that bad. For those of you who are waiting to see me at 6 tonight, I apologize for being early. I just don't want to be getting home too late and unable to share this with you. Okay, so here is our little frame. I think it's super cute. And then what I wanted to do was tie a tiny bow to go at the top of the frame. Right, it's gonna have to be kind of teeny tiny. Now this is the elegant trim, and it comes in both gold and silver. As you can see, it is a little tricky to get tied. Um, Kind of like with any metallic thread, I feel like there's always a little trouble tying them up. Okay, now we need a little mini glue dot. And this time I'm actually going to take it and I'm going to fold it in half because I need it to be really small. So there I fold it in half and then I can tear it off and add it right to the back of my bow. Just like that. And I can put it right at the top of my little frame. Okay. And now what I wanted to do next, this is a really simple little card. I think anyone can make this little fella. All right, we're gonna trim the ends of our bow. Those tiny bits just flew away. They're fine. They're fine. At least they stayed on the table so that my dog won't eat them. She eats everything. All right, so here is our little frame, but I wanted something to go behind it. So let's grab our piece of vellum. I almost couldn't find it. It kind of blends in a little bit with the table here. And this time to make a shape to go behind it, we're just going to use our Stylish Shapes dies. Okay, so we're going to take, let's see, the circle would probably be best. So we'll have a circle behind, well, maybe not. Let's see. Let's go with the square. I was going to go with the circle, but let's go with the square. And we're just going to cut out a large square using the Stylish Shapes out of our vellum cardstock. All right, so here we have our stitched, well, it looks a little like stitching, but it's actually dots. Okay, our vellum square to go behind it. And we can glue that down. Our Stampin' Seal. I really like to use Stampin' Seal when I am working with vellum. That's about the only time that I use it consistently. I know that some people are big fans of Stephen Seal, and that's pretty much all they use most of the time, but I tend to use the liquid glue most of the time. Okay, and now we're gonna add a couple more Stampin' Dimensional on our little frame. And we'll just stick that right in the middle. Well, I forgot to take the backs off. See, I had so much trouble with it the last time. I was traumatized. So this time they were no trouble at all. So you can never tell what's going to give you trouble and what's not, I guess. Okay, and we're going to put our Merry Christmas right in the middle. And this is our first card. I feel like uh, it means something else, and I think it's because I forgot to put the pearls on. So let's add a few of the iridescent pearls. Now I like to use my take your pick tool. I don't know if you prefer that or not, but I feel like it's really a good way to pick up any of these little gems. So let's put them maybe a couple there, and then let's use a couple of the bigger ones. Just like that. All right, and I'm going to leave those out for our next card. Okay, so here is our first card for tonight. It's a sweet and simple card. It doesn't take too long to make. If you were going to make a bunch of these, um, it wouldn't take forever. There is some die cutting, so that takes a little extra time, but it wouldn't take forever. So it's kind of a non-traditional color Christmas card, but I think it's really cute anyways. All right, and let's move right along to our next card. Okay, and for this one, we are going to use a white, thick, basic white cardstock for the background. And we're going to make this the regular size. So we're going to cut it at, I shouldn't say regular, I would say probably the most common size. So we're going to cut this one at 5.5. We're going to turn it sideways and we're going to score it at 4.25. And then we can take and fold it in half. And what scoring does, I know I score all the time and I don't always explain. What scoring does is it makes a dent in the paper so that when you fold it, the line is smoother and it's not as likely to crack and break. So it really is helpful to have a paper trimmer with a score line, or you can use the bone folder and a ruler if you prefer, or if you don't yet have a paper trimmer. All right, so next for this one, I wanted to use this color of the cardstock. Now, I don't know exactly what this is an image of. I cannot tell. It kind of looks a bit like chocolate to me. And so So, of course, I'm partial to it. I love some chocolate. All right, and we're gonna at let's cut it at 3 3/4. And then we're going to turn it sideways and cut it at 5. Okay, and this is going to be our next layer, like that. And then what I want to do is take this this like, I guess it would be canvas and easel. There we go. We're going to take out the easel stamp. I'm not going to put that on there yet because I have a feeling there might be something else that I need to do with that. All right, so we're going to set this off to the side. And I need a block for this one. This one's kind of large, so I'm going to use block E. And I'm going to lay it on there gently. Try not to bend it out of shape. So there's that. And next, I want a piece of basic white. And we're just going to stamp our easel right on there. And I'm going to use, let's see, early espresso for this. So I'm going to lay that down. I'm going to do my practice stamping. This is the first time I have used the um, Crafting with You stamp set and die bundle. I've been dying to try it out, but I haven't gotten down here to my craft room as much as I'd like to lately. All right, so we're going to press that down and it makes a nice image. I think that'll go fairly well with our designer series paper that we chose. So we're going to put this up here and stamp. And then we're going to cut this out with the die that matches. Okay, I'm going to die cut this and I'll be right back. Okay, here is our little easel. That's going to be super cute. Okay, and then the next thing that I wanted to do, oh, hold on, I didn't get all the pieces out. There we go. Okay, now there's also in here, there are right here some little flowers that have a die too that match them. And I can fit these little fellows right here on block B, on a little block. And we are going to try something new. So what we're going to do is take our cherry cobbler and our, let's see, I'm hoping I have a mossy meadow, but I don't. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to color our stamp with, let's see, mossy meadow. I don't have, but I do have old olive. So we're going to use cherry cobbler and old olive, and let's see how it turns out. So what I want to do is take my markers and just color the parts that I want to be cherry cobbler. So I'm going to try and get lots of ink on there because I know it'll have a tendency to dry out a little bit. And I'm trying to make it fairly smooth. So I'm just coloring all the flowers right now. This is a little trick for your Stampin' Rate markers that we don't always talk about a whole lot. But you can use them to color your stamps. Okay, so there are my flowers. And then I'm going to color my leaves with the old olive. Now you do have to be careful to just get the parts of the stamp that you want, because it's really easy to color over the lines. I always have to turn mine a little bit so I can reach those edges. All right, and then once you have everything colored, you want to work kind of fast. You're gonna huff on it, so you're gonna breathe on your stamp. And then you're gonna stamp it down on the paper. And that's what our image will look like. Then we can clean our stamp off real quick. And I think my colors are a little muted. They're not super bright, but this also is not a real definite, what do I want to say, stamp. It's one of those ones that's a little bit more on the kind of shadowy side. So there's shadows to it, shades and shadows. And then we're going to take our die cut and we're going to cut that out. Okay, and here are our little flowers. Okay, so this is what we're going to do next. We're going to take our little easel and we're going to stamp that Merry Christmas again. And I'm just going to grab my cherry cobbler ink. And just had to find the Merry Christmas. So once again, our Merry Christmas would be too long if we stamped it. So we're going to do the same thing we did before. First, we're going to stamp the first half. Uh-oh, I kind of got it on Christmas. Okay. So we're going to stamp the Merry. All right. And then we'll clean it off. This is one nice thing. Well, one really nice thing about the photopolymer stamps is you can see through them to see which part you're getting the ink on. Okay, so then we're going to stamp the Christmas. We have Merry Christmas. And I have some cherry color right here. And inside this set is a cute little heart. There's actually several cute little hearts, but I'm just going to cut out one today. Okay, and I love things that are like little teeny tiny embellishments. So there's a little heart. I'm going to put this ink away so I don't get my fingers in it. And let's start putting our card together. So we've got our background. We're going to have our little easel, our flowers, and our little heart down here. And let's see, I think what we need is maybe some red. Or maybe another layer around our, let's see, around our piece of designer series paper. Let's do that. So we're going to add, I think we should add red. So I've got some cherry cobbler here. Whoops. And I'm going to cut a piece that is 3 7/8. By 5 1/8. Because it's just going to be a thin layer of that. Okay. So now I'm going to turn this over. and add some liquid glue. It's going to be a thin line around the edge. We're going to leave a space for our finger and then squiggle down the middle. Okay. All right. And that just adds that little pop of color that's going to bring in um, the color of our flowers and our little heart. And let's see. We use the silver elegant trim on our other piece. And so let's use the gold on this one. My gold ribbon's getting a little out of hand here. I thought it's going to stay even after I wind it up. It's probably not going to stay. But I do have some removable tape around here, so I may just tape it up and force it to behave. All right, so let's see. I think it would be nice if we wrap it around here, around the top. And we'll go 2 times around. 2. Oh, that's actually 3. Okay, and we'll tie a little bow here on the side. Okay, and then we can tighten it down. All right, and we need to trim the ends. Just like that. Okay, and now we'll put this on using our Stampin' Dimensionals. These ones, I've got some leftover bits here that need to be used up. Okay, so here is our first layer, and we're just going to pop that right in the middle. Then we're going to put should we put our easel right on there? I feel like we should. Let's scoot this down a little. Well, maybe not. I don't know. Let's see. I'm going to put it back up. Sometimes I change my mind when I'm making these cards with you. Okay. It's probably more than sometimes. If you're watching me and it's more than sometimes, I would apologize, but I don't think I should. I want you to have, um, I want you to feel like changing your design partway through is normal. Okay. You don't have to stick to any one specific way that you make a card, right? Kind of like beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So is the design of the card. Okay. So here is our little easel. And then we're going to put our flowers on there. And I'm just going to use a mini glue dot for that. And we can just stick those right up there. And we'll put a little mini glue dot on our heart. Now remember, if you need your mini glue dots to be smaller, you can always just fold them in half. Okay, here's our little heart. And then we're going to add our iridescent pearls. So this time I'm going to put them here on my flowers. A little one here by my heart. And then one up here. And all right, and there is our second card for tonight. So I hope you have enjoyed part 3 of the Christmas in July series. Here are our 2 cards that we made tonight. I hope that you're gaining some inspiration from these and making some Christmas cards of your own. Have a great week and happy stamping. I will see you again next Sunday. Thanks so much.